The disrespect to say he's not that. He's not. Have you watched him play? So we asked you guys some unpopular football opinions on our Instagram story, and now we're going to discuss some of them.
And we got a lot of responses.
We haven't even seen them.
We haven't seen them.
So we're about to look at them for the first time.
I've seen
now.
a couple of them because I've just been scrolling, and some of them are going to
Really?
make you mad. So
Okay.
let's get right into it. Modric is not that good. I think he is overrated.
That is
That
a
hurts
terrible
you.
opinion. That is a horrible opinion. Modric is one of the greatest midfielders of all time. To me, Modric is above Xavi and Iniesta. That's my unpopular opinion. The only player I think that's up there with Modric is Zidane. And Zidane's probably just above Modric. So that's where I classify Modric.
Whoa. So
And
that's how you feel about
that's
that.
how I feel about Modric. The disrespect to say he's not that. He's not. Have you watched him play? Nah.
See, I knew this would trigger him.
Nah.
I knew it.
Move on to the next one.
Bruno Fernandes is underrated and people think he's overrated. The thing with Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, I get why people think he's overrated. I honestly think Bruno just pisses a lot of people off. Because the guy is good enough, he doesn't need to roll around. He doesn't need to complain all the time. He doesn't need to be doing that shit if he's good enough, you know? I just feel like because it's so repetitive that I totally get where people are coming
That
from.
is the perfect explanation. He is 100% underrated, but people do overrate him
Yes.
because of that. I think
Yes.
you worded it perfectly,
So-
and I have to agree. I think he's underrated.
The guy just irritates me so much.
I
but
love Bruno.
You see, it takes away from him as a player, but that's okay. Next, I would take 5 to 6 people in City's squad as captain before I take KDB. That is interesting. See, I honestly believe that Ruben Diaz will be a fantastic captain. Not that anyone's asked for my vote, but he would get my vote. KDB is the person that people think will be the next captain.
Just
And
because you're a good player doesn't make you a good leader.
that's the
So
thing.
KDB is very quiet and to himself, and I think he sets an example through how he plays.
Yes.
So in that sense, he's someone that people can look up to. But I also have to kind of agree with this unpopular opinion and say there are other City players
that I would...
that would be
Yes.
ahead of him. I don't know about 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's a lot because I know like there's the names that have been popping up. It's KDB, Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Aki. Like those kinds of names are floating around. So I get that.
Not to say he can't be the captain, but
Yeah,
I do think
but I get that.
there are others that would be better leaders than KDB.
And that is a hot take for some people.
Yeah.
Next, Harry Kane's 30 goals for Spurs is better than Haaland's 36.
Facts.
Okay, I agree with that.
Facts
100%.
all day, every day.
I don't actually think that shouldn't be an unpopular opinion because it's almost like Harry Kane had to fight one man to make that happen, if that makes sense.
Let them swap teams and see how many goals each of them score. Think about it like that.
That's the real challenge. Also, that's not taking away from Haaland. We're not disrespecting the guy in any way. You guys know we are
But
Team
for
Haaland.
Kane to
But
get
for Kane,
30 Premier League goals
With
in that Spurs
Spurs.
team that did not even qualify for Europe.
well
Hey,
done, Harry.
You know what? Harry Kane, that's absolutely
No,
brilliant.
it's
So,
wildly impressive.
Facts.
David Beckham's celebrity status has made people forget how good of a footballer he was.
That is such a fact.
That
Such
is
a fact.
I actually feel like it has overshadowed him
Completely.
a lot. Like people can almost disrespect his career sometimes because you're like, it's David Beckham, the celebrity. Like you don't think of him as the great footballer he was.
I would put him in a Man United all-time 11. That I think he's that good. At
So-
right wing, David Beckham goes in all day,
Yeah.
every day. I think he's one of England's best players. He was an absolute legend for United.
Yeah.
Even at Real Madrid, his
Woo!
career at Real Madrid was underrated.
his passes. Oh wow,
Next
magic.
level. And I also think that that's almost something similar that's happened to Ronaldo. Because he's so famous, he gets a lot of hate. Because, I mean, it's natural when a lot of people like someone, you get a lot of haters.
Yeah,
So because
it's-
he's so famous,
It's
so
a
popular.
what do you call it? A double-edged sword.
Yeah, I think people discredit him as a footballer because of the fame as well. So,
100%.
But with Beckham, I agree.
That's spot on.
Spot
Totally.
on.
Casemiro had a way bigger impact on Man United this season across all compared to Bruno and Rashford.
I agree.
I think Casemiro came into this United team and literally became the heart of the team that when he wasn't there, you could tell. The team
Yeah.
felt it. They just weren't the same. So
When United signed him, people were like, how can you spend so much money on a Finnish player from Real Madrid? He's not going to play for the badge. You know, all these things. But he turned out to be the signing of the season, one of the best players. for United, hands down. To me, he was United's player of the season alongside Rashford. Like, he was so pivotal for United.
I think his impact, I
yeah,
actually
because
agree
think
with
of
that.
the amount of clean sheets we had this season compared to the last. I think heavily goes down to his influence on the team, because the defense feels so much comfortable knowing they have him in front of them. So I have to agree with this as well.
Haaland is better than Mbappe. This is my take on it, okay? I think Haaland and Mbappe are two completely different kinds of players. And to compare them, I actually I get that that's what happens. You know, it's always someone against someone. Like, I mean, we've seen that with Ronaldo and Messi for how many years, you know? So it's natural to compare. But I don't think you can compare them. I think Mbappe is a completely different kind of player to Haaland. Like, he can make chances out of nothing.
Yes.
You know, he can do things himself. I mean, think about the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Who scored all those goals?
To me, this season, although I think Mbappe is a better player than Haaland, I think Haaland has had a better season than Mbappe.
Yes, which
same
is that's a difference.
Same as Messi and Haaland. Messi is a better player than Haaland,
100%.
but Haaland had a better season than Messi, if that makes sense.
Okay, Rodri deserves to be higher than Messi in Ballon d'Or rankings.
We put this on our story. We did a poll. I think there must have been
Oh, there was a lot
3,000 votes or something like that. Majority voted for Rodri to be above Messi, which really surprised me. I personally think Messi should be above purely because of the World Cup. It seems like that's exactly how they're judging the Ballon d'Or.
But
if we do look at the season,
Rodri should be in the Ballon d'Or conversation.
yeah,
I
he's
think it's
underappreciated.
Definitely. But then again, I feel like Ballon d'Or always favors statistics and stats and numbers and all that stuff and goals and that's how it's always been. So there are a lot of players out there that will always be underappreciated purely because of the role in which they play.
Especially defensive players
100%.
like Rodri.
Yeah. So hot take for some though, hey?
Our followers seem to think that this is not an unpopular opinion, so quite interesting.
Bruno doesn't have leadership qualities. I actually mentioned this to you. Which
we
game
had an
was
argument about
it? It was the 7-0 game.
Yes.
Yes. If you're the captain and your team is losing like that, I get it.
Throwing your toys out the
You
cot.
can't be doing. If you are the leader, you are the one that people are looking up to. So in that particular game, I was like, you're not showing me that your team can get through this or overcome this for the next one. Like, you basically just threw it. You were like, yeah, okay, it's shit. We're shit. I'm gonna accept it. To me, that's not what a leader does. It's not what a captain does. So I actually kind of agree. I don't really think Bruno has. Obviously, I'm not in the dressing room with him, so I'm sure there are a lot of people that would disagree.
Can I just disagree with you quickly? That's an isolated game. Not every day you lose 7-0, and I think it just got to him, and it was kind of like, you know what, he's over it.
He is a human.
If you actually watch him, he gives 150% every game. He's
so he's an example. Okay.
He is constantly on the ref's case, defending his team. Constantly. If anything happens, Bruno is there.
But
he is there. He makes sure he's got your back.
But sometimes too much.
Yes,
like, Bruno
yes,
doesn't pick
sometimes
his
it's too
moments.
much.
He
But
doesn't.
As a leader, he sets the example. You'll see him chasing the ball in the 93rd minute, giving everything he can. He played 70 games this season.
Yes, I know.
More than any other player. He sets an example. To me, he's my captain. He is a leader, and I hope he will be the new captain over Maguire. So this to me, I disagree with. I think he's a great captain.
Again, I think it's one of those agree to disagree.
Okay.
The guy's a human, so let me try to be more empathetic to Mr. Bruno. Okay, one more. Maguire is actually decent outside of Man United.
You know, when I watched England recently, I was just focusing on him, and I was so impressed. I was like,
So why can't he bring that when you guys need
this
it?
guy was playing incredible passes. He was solid, and it made me angry. I was like, I think at United,
I think there's an energy on the guy,
and
to be honest.
I think he can't deal with the pressure of United, and the only way he'll have a successful career is if he goes somewhere else, that pressure's off him, that price tag is off him, because that's always something hanging over his head.
100%. I think he's stuck with everything hanging on him. That how do you grow in an environment that's already put you down so much? Not necessarily the institution itself, but to be fair, people didn't just get this from the air.
Yeah.
They went off of what they were watching.
He did, yes.
So I get it.
But when they bought him, he was a player we were all excited to get.
See, that's
I still remember.
So disappointing.
I remember him being. I was like, this guy's. They're spending way too much for him. But I was excited to have him be at United. Didn't take long before I changed my mind about him. But that is a fact.
I actually agree with that opinion. And sometimes I think players go to teams, and you think they're gonna do well, and then they just don't.
Yeah, but
Hazard is a perfect example at Real Madrid.
But Maguire's time is up. You gotta get out of there. Get out of there for you, for your life, for your career, so that you
I don't think Maguire's gonna.
Now, Maguire, if you're watching this, we don't want you to stay because we want the best for
you
you.
can't say this
No.
to someone.
We want the best for you, so you need to leave because that'll make you happier and it'll make us the happiest fan base in existence. Thank you for your time. We've been very upset with what you've done many times, but it's okay. We forgive you only if you leave.
I think it's very bold of you to assume Maguire would watch our videos. Okay,
Listen.
but listen, we agree with that opinion.
I've seen crazy things
And-
happen, like Captain Gundo sending you a video. Who knows if Magugugs watches?
What a moment. Guys, we have so many more unpopular opinions, so we're going to have to do a part 2. And there's so many good ones I want to read. So
we'll be
definitely
back.
got to
We'll be
stick
back for
around.
part 2. Let us know your opinions on these unpopular opinions in the comments. And if you haven't already,
You got to like, you got to subscribe, and you got to keep an eye out for more content.
there we go. Listen to Wafi.